So, Holly Diane, today is Christmas Day of 2020, and today you turned a nifty 50. So, in honor of that, here is a video of the highlights of the last 50 years for you. We may skip a few things because I don't have pictures of everything like your work experience, but I think you'll enjoy this. So, here we go. On Christmas Day of 1970, you were born at Bryn Mawr Hospital in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, and we then took you home to 2019 Parkway South in Broomall, Pennsylvania. And there you met your older sister, Lori, and we spent the year 1971 in Broomall. And in 1972, I got transferred by Bell of Pennsylvania out to Pittsburgh, and we bought a home in the North Hills of Pittsburgh at 464 Emerald Drive. You and Lori liked the house. It had a big backyard, an elevated deck. Had a hill in front of the house you could ride your big wheels down, and a nice driveway where Lori could tow you around in a wagon. That summer, your mother and I took you down to Stone Harbor, and I think that was your first taste of the ocean. You've always liked the ocean, and I think you got a good start there in Stone Harbor. Then at Christmas time, we took you out Christmas tree shopping for a live tree, and it appears that you really enjoyed that. That was obviously one of your favorite things to do. The next year, I introduced you to, I think, Schaefer beer out of a big beer mug. I always believed that little tastes were better than sneaking drinks, and we had you started quite early, and it seemed like you enjoyed that. I like this picture. This is Christmas of 1973, you and Lori in Pittsburgh in our game room. In 1975, we moved back east from Pittsburgh to Westchester to a new house at 1500 Wilson Lane and in Marydale Farms. And here you are in front of that house. I'm not quite sure what you're doing, if you're waiting for Lori or what, but this next picture shows the two of you getting on the school bus in 1975. And then here the two of you are at Christmas time, again, 1975. The following year, 1976, we stayed at the Bayview Motel, the famous Bayview Motel, and I'm not quite sure who put you up on the roof of the car for a trip, but it was probably me. I see your mom there. She looks a little skeptical. As you can see, the good old Bayview pool is there without a fence, and the candy shop is that Mrs. Pinunto ran is across the street, and you look like the two of you are ready to go. Here you are in front of the East Goshen Elementary School in 1976. I think that was your only year there because that year your mom and I separated and you moved on to Goshen Valley, and the rest of your elementary school time was at Glen Acres. This picture is the following year, 1977, and you guys are dressed like twins here and enjoying something. We had a lot of fun with Indian princesses. This is you learning how to shoot a bow and arrow left-handed in 1977. And then the following year, someone new came into your life, and that was Jessica. We're here up on the rocks in Chester County. Jessica and I were married in October of 1978, and in this picture, following the ceremony, I managed to get my watch band caught in your hair. And you did not like that, so you were kind of grumpy, and I didn't know what the problem was. But it's a nice picture of Aunt Jean, your Nana, Jessica's mother, and then Audrey and Dad. Here are 3 pictures from 1979. First, you as an 8-year-old brownie, and then you as an 8-year-old, once again hitting the bottle, trying out some Schaefer, or at least pouring it for me, really, I'm quite sure. But you look a little guilty there. And then we got a puppy by the name of Tristy. And here you are with Tristy. Year 1980, darned if Tristy didn't have puppies. And as you remember, we ended up keeping one after somebody adopted him and then gave him back. And so we had Tristy and Bo, and we've had 2 dogs ever since. Now this picture, also 1980, I guess that would make you 9 years old, with Strathmere in the background, and you're enjoying boating on the Strathmere Bay. Holly, there are lots of pictures of you enjoying boating, and it seems like that's really your calling. Now here you and Laurie are putting on a show at the Bayview Motel. Those shows were always lots of fun. You had a program and everything. And who can forget the marvelous dark green walls of the Bayview Annex? Now, this picture is at Easter time of 1981. You look very spiffy there with your bare shoulders, etc. And then we jump ahead to 1982. And you're 11 years old and showing off your prowess at baseball, both in the field here and then at bat. So lots of fun in the fields of Westchester. Now a couple of pictures from 1983. Here's another boating picture. This is a great shot, but you obviously love your time on the water. Then there's the famous chief picture. For years, you guys bugged me when you were younger to be chief of the mighty Pawnee. And when I finally got around to being chief, you weren't so anxious to have me be chief. So anybody watching this, you can see Holly and Laurie displaying their great enthusiasm for their father being chief of the mighty Pawnee. In 1983, Jessica and I found out that she was expecting. And here you guys are helping to get ready for the big moment, which came in December when Stephanie was born on the 13th. Now, in this next picture, the 2 of you are holding Steph in 1984 in front of the house in 1413 Allen Lane in Westchester. Now, this 1985 picture is one of my all-time favorites. I guess it's at the shore. Yeah, I'm sure it's at the shore. And you guys are both very, very beautiful. What a great picture. This picture is you at 15, 1986, cutting the lawn in Westchester. Now, you started school the year before at George School, 1985, and I don't have a picture, at least I couldn't find one, of when you first went up there. But this is in 1986 with you holding Dan, and you can see the blonde resemblance. And of course, when you were just starting at George School, that's when you told some other girls as you were holding baby Dan, who looked just like you, that, oh yes, he's the reason I'm away at boarding school. And 4 years later, they still believed you, unfortunately. Here are two pictures from 1989. This one in front of the house on Allen Lane with you and Lori and Steph and Dan and Jessica and I. And I would guess that's Bo behind us, but it might be Tristy. I don't know. Yeah, probably Tristy. And then the second picture is a beautiful picture. I think Lori was doing camera work and took this picture at that time, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's Lori's work. Very nice. High school goes pretty slowly, but all of a sudden it's over and you wonder, where did it go? So in June of 1989, you graduated from George School, and here you are. You picked a heck of a time to tell off the headmaster and tell him how to run the school, but what better time? Very proud of your diploma here, a very nice picture, and then we're very proud, and another pretty picture. Aunt Jean looks nice here, the four of us. Lori, Jean, myself, and you. Now this is an interesting picture. Here are four graduates, friends for life, three graduates sitting very demurely with their hands clasped together, as I guess they were supposed to. But one graduate is unable to meet that demure pose. But anyway, another great picture. And here's the reception afterward, I guess, and your last chance to see the grounds of George School as a member of the school. That was a great place, Holly, and you made a lot of great friends there that are still great friends. Then from George School, for you and for Bridget, it's off to Penn State to actually do summer school up there so that you were able to do the rest of your 4 years all at main campus. Here you are, and then here's a funny picture of the two of you. Again, this is in 1989, and this is actually the week before graduation from George School, but I thought it seemed better in the video if we showed it afterward. Here's a nice shore picture. You're not in this, but I thought you would enjoy this. This is the summer of 1991, and it shows, of course, Steph and Dan, and Kate and Jessica, but especially Aunt Stay, Aunt Alice, and Aunt Jean all looking good on the lot that Sue and Charles used to rent. And there's the Strathmere Bridge and Bay in the background. The next picture we'll jump 5 years to 1996, and Chris and Lori get married. So this is a nice wedding picture of the two of them. Then we bought the house at the shore. We bought it in 1997. This is a picture in 1998, and that's what we bought. The old Andrus house with that luncheonette part in the back, and it obviously needed some work and needed to be raised. So the picture of the shore house was in March of '98, and that July you bought in Richards Alley. And here you are in your spiffy BMW convertible in front of your new home in Richards Alley. A great place, and yeah, I know you really like that. The next shot is because we have a new addition to the family on January the 2nd of 1999. Along came Caroline, and here you are with Caroline, I guess in the kitchen at Westchester. And later that year in September of 1999, the house looks a little different. The old house that we bought was moved to the vacant lot. New pilings put in the old lot. The house was raised, put back. Bill Schnatz did a marvelous job of fixing it up, revamping, putting a big addition up above the old deli. And here we are. Now, of course, that house is not the same one that's there today because this one burned down. But it gave us a great start. On May the 7th of 2001, along came Lindsay, and here she's being loved by big sister Caroline. And then it seemed like in the blink of an eye, on September 16th of 2002, Connor was born. This is his baptism with all three, and Holly, you became an aunt 3 times over, and a very great aunt you are, if I do say so. You do very well by all 3 of your nieces and nephew. In 2004, the house had burnt down at the shore. We had sold the house in Westchester. The house at the shore was being rebuilt, and we were living in the Poconos. Steph and Dan were in college, and you and Jessica decided you would take a trip to Italy and leave me behind in the Poconos with the dogs. So here you are departing from Philadelphia International, and next stop, Rome. You guys started your trip in Rome. Here you are on the Spanish Steps. And then here you are, I guess that's the Colosseum. I guess that's the Forum. Or it's just some old housing project in Rome. This is the Colosseum, of course. And that's an amazing thing to see. And here you are at the Vatican. When I first saw the Vatican, it was 1964, and that great big pillar or obelisk was shading the people standing on a Sunday waiting for the Pope to come out, and as the sun moved, we all moved in the shadow. But you didn't have to do that. It looks like it's pretty comfortable while you were at the Vatican. This thing is interesting. It's by a church or cathedral in Rome. It's called the Mouth of Truth. And legend has it, if you have lied and put your hand in there, you will lose your hand. So, Holly, it appears you are chancing a few fingers here. But anyway, that was your Rome trip. And now you get on the train and go up to Florence. Here you are at the Piazzale Michelangelo up in a wonderful vista overlooking all of Florence. Very, very impressive view of Florence. And next you're sitting on a bridge, one down from the Ponte Vecchio, the old bridge, which is behind you along the Arno River. It's a wonderful shot. Then you go on to Venice, and here are you and Jessica on a Vaporetto touring the canals of Venice. Here you are in St. Mark's Square in Venice, and the tide is high, and everyone is walking on raised platforms except you, because you and Jessica were smart enough to talk to the hotel people and say, what do we do about this water? And they said, go to the hardware store and get galoshes. And this next picture shows you with those galoshes. Actually, this one is over on the island of Murano, where you went following your first visit there to St. Mark's Square. Now you're back in St. Mark's Square, and you seem to be not only surrounded by, but overwhelmed by pigeons. Jessica said that she made you have this shot taken because she knew how much you like birds. You look like Tippi Hedren here, Holly. So here are the two of you in St. Mark's Square. A nice picture with the cathedral and the bell tower there, and the pigeons not on your shoulders. And after Venice, you took the train back to Rome for the flight home. You only had to put up with an exciting taxi ride, which is the only kind of taxi rides they have in Rome. What a great trip. That trip was in 2004, and 2 years later, this is Easter time at the shore, 2006, and for some reason, an arm wrestling match breaks out among many of the attendees. Here you and Steph are showing off your arm strength. Not quite sure what triggered that. Then later in August of 2006, Dan turns 21, and you and Lori and Chris and I accompany him to Twisties, where he can have his first drink, and perhaps the only one he's had since he turned 21. I don't know. Dan doesn't drink. This is the next year, 2007, and I included this only because we had so many nice dinners at 212 Bayview where we could eat dinner and look out at the bay. I don't know that this was any special occasion or not. In September of 2007, you bought the house at 605 Cheltenham, and you've lived there ever since. It's a wonderful house. We don't know why you keep talking about selling it. We don't think you ever will, but who knows? Maybe you will. But it's a great house, and I know you enjoy it. So here you are celebrating your 38th birthday at the shore. But of course, that was only the preliminary for the big one. And you should have celebrated the big one, the big 4-0, in 2010. But a snowstorm happened along and pushed it off a couple days at least until New Year's night of 2011. So here you are on the front walk, preparing for the party, and you've got the luminaries out along the walk so that everybody can safely make it in. And here is the big 4-0 birthday cake. I have to say it was a great party. Lots of your friends. We also had to play some kind of a game, a list, which escapes me. But we all had fun, and it was a wonderful 40th birthday party for you. And your house is a great place to party. So 2011, the year after your 40th birthday, seemed to be a very active year for you, Holly, at least in the pictures that I have. Here you are paddling a kayak in the back bay of Strathmere. And then here you are being towed by the Bonnie Jean in the bay behind Whale Beach. And we're trying to see if we can go fast enough and turn tight enough that we can throw you off into the bay. Then we all went over to Ocean City and went out on the boat where they took us parasailing all along the coast of Ocean City, which gave us beautiful views, and we got our feet dipped in the water and had a high old time. Here, you and Dan, I think, are coming in for a landing, but that was a lot of fun. Two more pictures from 2011. This one is of the bay from our living room, dressed up a little bit for Christmas time. And then we have the family that came down for Christmas and, of course, your birthday in 2011. And everybody's out on the dock. Everybody's getting a little older. The kids are getting a little bigger. Very nice shot. The year 2012 was an eventful year in Strathmere. I was proud of the fact that early in the year I was doing some research and found that my grandfather, Daddy George McCullough, was appointed the first postmaster of Strathmere, and that Strathmere took that name in January of 1912. And I wrote that newsletter that's pointed it out to everybody that, 2012 would be our centennial, and maybe we should do something special. So a lot of special things happened at the 4th of July and, of course, at Nightmare. Our Nightmare theme that year was Happy 100th to Strathmere, a town full of characters. And we asked everybody to dress up like characters. And here are Lori and you dressed up as characters. This may be my favorite picture of all time, as the six of us are celebrating Happy 100 Strathmere out on our dock. I'm sorry that Dan didn't make it, but it's a wonderful picture. We all are having a great time. And little did we know that that would be the last time that we celebrated Nightmare on that dock, because Sandy came along in October. After Sandy destroyed our fixed dock in 2012, it took almost until Labor Day before we got a floating dock that was hooked up to the house so that we could use it. And then you and Lori decided to appropriately christen the floating dock with a grand leap into the bay. And there you go, off the dock. What class, what style, how great. What a great jump. So even though we owned a house on the bay with a slip or two, I resisted for years buying a boat. And I told Jessica, who wanted a boat, that she could have either the horse or a boat, knowing that, of course, she would choose to keep her horse. But Holly explained to me that, Dad, you don't understand. The horse is for Jessica. A boat would be for the whole family. So we ended up getting a boat, which we named the Bonnie Jean. Knowing your love of boating, it's no surprise that you were the one who talked me into getting a boat, which we named after Aunt Jean and Aunt Alice, who Dan and Steph called Bonnie. Here you are. I think you've just come under the new causeway that they built to replace the 9th Street Bridge in Ocean City. And way in the background is Summers Point, which leads over to Beasley's Point. Here's a nice picture from 2014, the next year, of you four kids and me on the Bonnie Jean with twisties in the background. Then, the same year, here's a picture of you and Jessica enjoying what were many sunsets that we saw out there on the dock of 212 Bayview. In 2014, I was going to turn 75, and we'd had family pictures taken every 10 years, and Jessica wasn't sure I'd make it to 80, so we had Ted Kingston go over on the sandbar with us and take a lot of family pictures, and he did a great job. These are wonderful pictures, and there's our house in the background. In October, you came down, all of you, for a birthday dinner for me at Twisties. And when I walked in the door, I was stunned to find out that there was the whole place was full of people that I knew that were there for a surprise birthday party for me that Jessica and you all had arranged as I turned 75. What a great night. Thank you all for that one. In 2015, we sold the house in Strathmere and moved down to St. James, North Carolina. And not that long after, well, in the fall, I guess, of that year, Jessica had rotator cuff surgery and was sort of incapacitated. And while that was going on, we learned that you had had a stroke back up in Wilmington. And I could not leave Jessica because she couldn't function just yet with the shoulder surgery. When I finally could get away, I came up and visited you here where you're working on your rehab equipment and doing pretty well, actually. Then the second week in December, we packed up and brought the dogs, Banner and Champ, and came up to stay with you while you were recuperating. Here is Jessica walking the dogs in front of your house and getting a taste of snow, which we didn't expect we'd be having down in North Carolina. So we stayed with you for some 5 weeks from mid-December until the third week or so in January. And here the whole family was able to celebrate Christmas and your birthday at your house. So that turned out very nice. And of course, here you're wearing the traditional birthday hat to celebrate your 45th. In 2016, you and Lori came down to St. James for Father's Day and visited us. And this picture was out at the St. James Beach Club with the pool and the Atlantic Ocean behind us. That's a very nice place. This picture of you, I think, is out on the fishing pier at Oak Island, probably after we had dinner at the Island Way. You and Lori did a very nice thing and treated us to a cruise on the Cape Fear River and the Inland Waterway. And we got to cruise all around the harbor. And here we are with Captain Betsy and her assistant partaking of the very nice spread that we enjoyed as a part of this. And then, as your want is, and your love of ocean and water and boats, here you are enjoying the ride back down the Cape Fear River to Southport and just enjoying the heck out of the ride. that summer of 2016, we rented 6 West Webster and got everybody that we could together in Strathmere, and here we all are on the beach. And then at Christmas time, we decided that we would rent again and get everybody together for Christmas. We did not have dogs that year, having lost both Banner and Champ, so we were able to rent the place behind the library right on the beach for Christmas. And after Christmas dinner, we got together for a group picture. Hey, wait a minute. That doesn't look like much of a group picture. Seems like somebody's sort of commandeering the whole lens of the camera. There you go. Now we're getting a group picture. That looks pretty good. After the group picture, it was time for the traditional exchanging of gifts, which don't necessarily have to go into this video, except for the trade-offs or the exchanges between you and Stephanie. And the hilarity was just incredible. This first picture shows Steph's gift to you, which was a salt and pepper shaker consisting of 1 cat. And then Steph was trying to explain how both salt and pepper come out of that salt and pepper shaker. I suspect it's all in the way you load it. Then it was time for your gift to Steph. And she had asked you for what she wanted, so there should not have been confusion, but she forgot what she asked for, and you put it in a box that seemed to have some kind of plumbing paraphernalia or sketches on the box, and then great hilarity ensued because it took a while for her to figure out that this was a cat fountain to provide water for her cat and not some kind of device from a plumbing supply house. You had to be there to really get this. Anyway, for any of you watching this who were there, this may be time to pause the video and try to reconstruct just what exactly happened that led to so much laughter. For the rest of us, we'll move on to 2017. In 2017, we again rented at 6 West Webster, and you brought George down this time so that he could frolic in that great backyard they have that's all fenced in and great for dogs. We also went to dinner at the Deauville, and here's a sunset picture of the 4 of us with the Strathmere Bay behind us and the sun setting behind that. In 2018, you came down to visit us for the 4th of July, and we went into Southport to watch the fireman competition. All the towns from around Southport have their firemen come in and compete with different events. In this particular event, they're using their hoses to see who can move the beer keg across the street and win the beer keg war. Then for the actual 4th of July, you joined us and a group of neighbors and took the boat ride along the intercoastal down to Southport from St. James to watch the fireworks, which we were the boat probably closest to the barge that was shooting off the fireworks. And we had a ball. That was a fun time. In 2018, we decided to sell the house in St. James and move back up to the Delaware Valley area in order to be closer to you and all the rest of the family. We put the house up for sale. It finally sold in 2019, and we didn't have a place to go when the closing came, so we moved in with you for a while in Wilmington. And here we are celebrating Father's Day down along the Christiana River in Wilmington with the whole family. After lunch, we came back and enjoyed the afternoon on your deck and had some really good family time with everyone. That was a nice day, and thank you for having us stay there, Holly. We actually got a chance to see Connor play baseball at the University of Delaware later that day. So we finally did get to move down to Egg Harbor Township to our present home here at 13 Coachman Drive, which we really love. It has worked out just wonderfully. Those hedges, though, are no longer there. Now you can see the front porch a little better. In September, you and your friends from Hockessin brought their dog and you and George down to run on the Strathmere Beach. And here you are filming the experience of this bikini-clad young lady keeping the dogs happy with a good run on the beach. And then came 2020. Who can forget 2020? The year of COVID, the year of social distancing and masks. Stay 6 feet apart. Oh my goodness. But when it started, we didn't know anything about that. It started with planning to have you come down to stay with us after your surgery. On January 15th, you had surgery on your heel. You spent a couple weeks in rehab up in Delaware and then came down here on the 28th of January. In the meantime, Steph had lost her job and they raised the rent on her apartment in South Philly. So she came down at the end of January and stayed upstairs, and we converted Jessica's office on the first floor into a hospital room for you. Although it did get a little complicated now and then, since we have 2 dogs and a cat, Steph has a dog and a cat, and you and George added to the fray. But it worked out great, and we had a lot of fun. And since you were on the first floor, you had no problem navigating around to the dinner table. And it was wonderful having both you and Steph here at the same time. But you did recover quite well. And when everybody got together here for Father's Day, you actually walked halfway around the lake where we take the dogs for a walk every day at the nature reserve. Here we are in the lunch line, not quite socially distancing, but doing pretty well. I don't want to forget that this is the year of COVID, so here we are lined up for our group picture. Unfortunately, we could not convince the dogs to put their masks on. But then everyone took their masks off so that we could see how people look in the year of COVID. Holly, this is the last picture in this video. I'm sure you are delighted that we've come to the end, but you came down in October with George, and we took the 4 dogs over to the Strathmere Beach, and they had a great time, and we had a great time, and you got to show off your Don't Stop Retrieving t-shirt. So Holly, here we are. Happy 50th birthday and Merry Christmas. And I hope you enjoyed this summary of your first 50 years. Lori gave me the idea to make a video, and I thought I'd put in some pictures of your life, and it grew into the video that ate Pittsburgh. But I had a lot of fun with it, And I hope you enjoy it today and for years to come as you progress through your next 50 years. So that's it. Love you, Holly. We'll see you soon. Bye now.